All right, welcome back again. And today's video is about again quadratic equation. We are covering quadratic formula in this according to IGCSE and GCSE curriculum. There will be other topics also that we'll cover. I'll try to finish it in 5 minutes. That would be the goal. Let's start. So let me share quickly the whiteboard and keep up the good working over here. Just 1 second. It's loading. Okay. So we are here on the whiteboard. We have last time discussed about what is quadratic equation basically, as you can see here. What is quadratic equation? And I told you it is of the form ax square plus bx plus c. That's the standard form of an equation. That's the graph, the parabolic graph. That's how the graph of a quadratic equation look like. What is a coefficient of x square? What is b coefficient of x? And what is c constant? I'm telling you this fast. If you really want to see the first video, the introduction video, you can go and check it out. That one also in the from the channel. I'll try to put up the link also. And there are three methods in quadratic equation: factorization, quadratic formula, completing the square methods. We also understood what are the roots of the quadratic equation. Means when you solve an equation, you get the two values of x, and that is called the roots of the quadratic equation or zeros of the equation. Again, why they are called zeros of the equation? Because when you put them, the value of x into back into the equation, you get the answer zero, equivalent to zero. We did factorization. Factorization is simple. Explained you the methods. You can check the video out. And that's what we did in the previous question, previous video of quadratic equation. Today we're talking about quadratic formula. When you talk about quadratic formula, again, it's a very important part. Basically, quadratic formula is the simplest way to find out the roots of the quadratic equation. I told you what are roots already, the values of x. There are certain quadratic equations that cannot be easily factorized. You cannot do it from factorization method, and that's why it is very convenient for us to really use this method called quadratic formula. And that's why we are trying to cover up today this method called quadratic formula, the another method to solve a quadratic equation basically, right? So what does quadratic formula what it is basically? The roots of the quadratic equation usually are given in the form, let's say for example, if the equation has been given to you as ax square plus bx plus c is equals to 0. If this is your equation, right? If this one is your equation, then what you can do is the quadratic formula would be x is equals to minus b, all right, plus minus square root b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Again, I repeat, this is b square, not 6 or anything. This is b square divided by 2a. Now, this is also known as, there is another formula name of it. This is also called Sridharacharya formula, but we usually call it quadratic formula according to IGCSE and GCSE curriculum. This is one of the topic that you have to cover up, guys. So let's understand through the question how to solve it. Let's say we have an equation x square minus 3x and minus 4 is equals to 0. That's the equation. I have to solve it through quadratic formula. First of all, you write down what is a. So if you see, if you compare it with the equation, which usually is, let's say, ax square plus bx plus c, if you compare it with this equation, what is attached with x square? Nothing. So if there is nothing, there is 1. So a is 1. What is b? With coefficient of x basically, which is minus 3. Coefficient means something which is attached to that variable, the number that is attached to that variable. So b is minus 3. C is constant term which has been given to me as 4. I apply that formula. X is equals to, as I mentioned to you, minus b plus minus. It has been written over at the top already. I'll just mark it with a red color box here. This is the formula you will say. You just have to put up minus b is minus 3. So that becomes automatically plus 3 because minus minus is plus. So you can just write down plus 3, or you can just write down minus 3 first. Plus minus is square root, like again, b square. B square is minus 3 square. Uh, this is b square minus 4 times a times c. So minus 4 times a times c. That you do divided by your 2 times 1. Now you just do the basic calculation, guys. Like from the calculator, you can work it on, or just like plus, this is 3 plus minus square root. This would be 9, and this would be plus 16 divided by 2. That would give you actually nothing but 3 plus minus 25, square root 25 over 2, and the final x would be equals to 3 plus minus 5 by 2. So you will get two values of x this way, guys. The first value would be x equals to 3 plus 5 by 2, and the second value would be x is equals to 3 minus 5 by 2. So x would be equals to 8 by 2, and x would be equals to minus 2 by 2. So you will get the value of x as 4 here, and the value of x is -1 here. So these are the two values that you will be easily getting, right? Now that's how you do the quadratic formula, okay? But in quadratic formula, you need to also understand that in the formula, like I just told you, b square minus 4ac, this part is actually called discriminant. What do we call this as? Discriminant. This is denoted with d or delta, whatever you want to, but this is called discriminant. The name is discriminant. This is called discriminant, b square minus 4ac. This is very important to understand the nature of the roots of the quadratic equations. Okay, let's understand why this discriminant is important to know the nature of the roots of quadratic equation. Okay. Now, what is this nature of the roots of the quadratic equation again? To understand this, you need to know discriminant. I already told you. So usually it is, represented with other symbols also. But again, most common is delta or d. Okay, remember that. When d is greater than 0, guys, when d has a value more than 0, then we usually say that the roots are real and distinct. The roots are real and distinct. Okay, means two positive value of x usually. When d is equals to 0, then we usually say the roots are real and equal. The roots are real and equal. And when we have d less than 0, guys, the value of d is less than 0, the roots do not exist, you can say. The roots do not exist. Okay, or the roots are imaginary, basically the negative numbers. So this is what you need to keep in mind. The nature of roots of the quadratic equation is that, and it comes from x is equals to minus b plus minus square root b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So this part here is basically your discriminant. Okay, so you can remember that part, that what is your discriminant, how does it really work. All right. uh, Rest of the things, like for example, how to figure out the sum of the roots and the product of the roots, that's also the thing that you can remember, which will be discussed. But this is the main important part in quadratic formula basically that you guys have to remember. That's all from teacher X. I'll see you in the next class. Take care. Bye.